Nice flowers.
Oh, they're a housewarming gift.
I'm MJ.
I'm just a neighbor from across the hall.
Friendly neighbor.
Hey there, guys. Welcome back to the Zeke Said So YouTube channel. And we are talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day. And you know what? This warrants... We're going to be sitting down here for a while. Well, maybe not a while. I mean, I do got other things to do. But we are going to be sitting down here for a little bit, and we're going to be talking about this. I'm going to put my phone on silent there. There we go. We're going to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. So Spider-Man Brand New Day is out there for the world to see. If you guys have not seen it, you should go away. You should have seen the spoiler in the title of this. But we are going to be talking about everything in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I mean, if you guys saw my my out of the theater reaction, you guys know that I love the film. I have now seen it twice. As of recording this, I've seen it twice. I'm going to go see it for a third time. Well, by the time this goes up, I will have seen it now 3 times because I'm going to go see it Sunday, which is when this goes up, which is when this spoilers review is going to go up. But I'm going to go see it again for a third time. Absolutely love this movie. I think after seeing it twice, I think it's actually my favorite of the MCU Spider-Man movies. I have loved well, I'll be honest. I've loved 2 out of the now 4. Sorry. Let me take that back. Out of the Homecoming trilogy, I've loved 2 out of the 3 of them. I loved Homecoming. I thought Homecoming was fantastic. It was an excellent look of a Spider-Man that I love, which is the high school Spider-Man. It took the best parts of the Spectacular Spider-Man animated show and made it into something like really cool and fun and, you know, just interesting overall. And I thought that with Spider-Man Far From Home, I thought that was kind of a betrayal. It did not feel like a Spider-Man movie. It felt like an MCU movie that just so happens to have Spider-Man in it. And I thought that was a big disappointment for me. And I've grown to really despise Far From Home. The more I watch it, the more I actually get frustrated and annoyed with it. And then No Way Home came out. And No Way Home No Way Home set the record for the most amount of times I've seen a movie in theaters. I have seen No Way Home, and this is going to sound very crazy, and a lot of you are going to be like, oh my goodness gracious, because everybody has the same reaction when I tell them this. I saw Spider-Man No Way Home a grand total of 23 times in the theater. Just in the movie theater alone. Not mentioning the fact that I've watched it many times since it has come to you know, home media like VO, like digital and Blu-ray and all that kind of stuff. So I love Tom Holland as the character. I think Tom Holland is a perfect rendition of the character. I think he kind of combines the best elements of Tobey and Andrew. He's a great Peter Parker, which is what Tobey was, and he's a great Spider-Man, which is what Andrew was. And I really like how Tom is able to balance both. Tom Holland's able to portray the awkward, you know, kind of social outcast vibe of a Peter Parker, and you have his excitement and exuberance of his Spider-Man, you know. portraying that fact that you have a high school kid who just loves being Spider-Man. So, and I went into this movie with obviously some excitement, but also, how is this movie gonna match up to the other movies? Especially when we heard all these reports that Sony and Marvel weren't really getting along and weren't really figuring out how they were gonna do this. Did they want to do another multiverse story? Did they want to do a street level movie? Did they want to make a grounded street level type of adventure? All that started making me a little nervous. But then I saw all the trailers, and I thought all the trailers were fantastic. Seeing all the comic images brought to life on the big screen was amazing. It was amazing. Oh. I'm going to tell you this right now. I think this is the best MCU Spider-Man movie, period. I think this is the best movie the MCU has put together with Spider-Man. Because for me, it reminded me exactly of what I love about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, I think, is magnificent because it is the perfect movie where you see the struggle of what it means to, what great power comes great responsibility. That's a gift, but it's also, Peter Parker, or Toby's Peter says it at the end of the first Sam Raimi movie, and that is, with great power comes great responsibility. This is my gift and my curse. And in Spider-Man 2, we really got to see what that means. What does it mean to have this incredible gift, but also how does it turn into a curse? And the idea of the fact that sometimes to be the hero, it means you got to make sacrifices. And Tom Holland's Peter Parker has a great line in this movie where he says, sometimes being Spider-Man means you have to make sacrifices, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. And we see a lot of that come to fruition. Just right from the opening, when we're seeing him, he's reading the letter. He's reading the letter that he wrote to MJ, and he is watching Ned's Instagram reels. And he's watching all these reels of them and their 4 years at MIT, all this kind of stuff. And we see him while they're also showing a montage of him fighting all these different villains like Tarantula, Tombstone, all these different, the Hand. We see him fighting the ninja group, the Hand. And it was great because, again, we got to see that perfect the visual way of showing this is a gift, but it's also a curse. And the other thing that is very interesting is that they kind of did the reverse of what Spider-Man 2 did. Whereas Spider-Man 2, he decides to give up being Spider-Man and fully live his life as Peter Parker. And he realizes that he can't do that. He realizes that he has to be Spider-Man. There's a responsibility there to being Spider-Man. And in this movie, they've taken that and done kind of like the reverse of that, where he has to learn how to be Peter Parker, also how to live as Peter Parker. He can't hide behind the Spider-Man side of him, And it's a theme that I actually kind of thought was like, wow, this is really interesting, because I think we've all been in a place where we have drowned ourselves into any type of work, And in this movie, we see Peter really living a full-blown Spider-Man life. He's not really living a Peter Parker type of life. He hasn't really learned how to. The death of Aunt May, I think, did that, and then also the fact that he had to let go of MJ and Ned also hurt him quite a bit. And when I was watching this movie, I was like, oh my goodness, this is interesting. This is an interesting route to go in. And I love how they were able to integrate characters like the Punisher, characters like Hulk, and the villain of this movie, Jean Grey. Yes, Sadie Sink is, I'll be honest, there was something I was wrong about. I did not think we were getting Jean Grey in Spider-Man Brand New Day. I just didn't think that was a possibility. But we got Jean Grey in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and she's played by Sadie Sink. And what this means going forward for like the Mutant Saga and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I'll probably do a separate video on that another day, but I thought the way they were able to integrate characters like Jean, like Punisher, like Hulk, how they were able to integrate these characters and make them feel relevant. They weren't just there for the sake of, hey, people like to see the Hulk in this movie, so let's put Hulk in there. Hey, people really want to see Jean Grey in the MCU, so let's put Jean Grey in there. Hey, people like John Bernthal's Punisher, so let's put him in there. No, they added them and made them crucial to the story. My favorite scene in this movie, my absolute favorite effing scene in this movie, is the scene where Spider-Man is sitting in Punisher's little home, and Punisher is like, man, you can't take off that mask just to drink a cup of coffee. He's like, well, I'm living just like you, Frank. And he's like, you think I want this life? You think this is the life that I wanted? Kid, this isn't a life. This is a sentence. And it was so perfect how Frank Castle and Peter Parker are kind of on parallel arcs, are kind of on parallel journeys here. The fact that Frank Castle became the Punisher because he feels like he has nothing left. There is nothing for him on this planet. His family's gone, and all that kind of stuff. And he really feels like his only purpose is to, avenge people, like, avenge his family, and kill people kill people who are exactly like the ones who killed his family. And that's how. And I love, again, that line of him saying, like, this isn't a life, this is a sentence. This is nothing. Like, I wouldn't want to do this right now, but I got nothing left. And I like that. It's like so great because it reminds Peter that he still has a choice. He doesn't have to live like that. And I thought that was so great. And then how they were able to integrate MJ and Ned without undoing the curse, without undoing the spell. The spell that made everyone forget who Peter Parker was. They didn't undo it. Well, we'll get to that part later. They didn't undo it. Ned and MJ still don't remember who he is. But Ned is trying to find out who Spider-Man is because he wants to thank him for saving him in high school and all this other stuff. And MJ doesn't remember who he is. And I love that scene. That the fake out where they're talking on that rooftop, and she's like, I just need to know who were we friends? Were we classmates? Were we something more? And he's like, no. And then she kisses him. She does like the half mask kiss that's basically repeated in a lot of Spider-Man movies. And then the mask comes off, and she says, "Peter," and it's like, oh my gosh, she remembers, and his reaction is so sweet and so emotional. Surely they can't do anything that's gonna ruin that moment. Oh, but they do, because as they're hugging, you just hear MJ go, "That's it, Peter. Just keep holding on to her." I went to see the first time I watched the movie. I was watching the movie with Michael, and I remember Michael leaned into me and went, "Oh, that's effed up." And I remember seeing the movie with another friend of mine yesterday, and he even said the same thing. He was like, "Oh man, that is effed up." And it was so crazy that they went there. They actually went there, and seeing him like go into that his eyes just blacking out, grabs her by the throat, let her go, and then he makes her fall. And then he saves her, and you think it's like a death of Gwen Stacy situation, and then turns out everything's fine, and then they kind of move on from there. But such an incredible moment, and I loved. I'm trying to think. I'm not trying to do a whole play-by-play of the movie, because I feel like there are other channels who can do a whole play-by-play of the movie. I haven't talked about the transformations yet. Let me talk about the transformation. I love the idea that we basically got to see a Spider-Man who is evolving into something different, and he's not changing in the way that like, oh, his power sets have changed. No, his powers are evolving into something bigger. He's now shooting organic webbing. His senses are more hyper, like his senses have heightened more. He has this unbelievable strength and speed and agility. It's like he's evolving more and more. And I loved when he builds that inhibitor chip, and he kind of puts it on his neck, and he's trying to suppress it. But again, the whole movie, it's really about him not wanting to accept that change and not wanting to move on. And the changes that his powers are going, that his spider powers are going through, kind of play into his emotions of how he's feeling, which I thought was so great as well. Like, I thought that was like absolutely fantastic, the way they were able to take something that he's feeling, like his inner emotional turmoil. And again, it's the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2 thing, where a lot of the things that Peter was feeling in that movie caused him to lose his powers. This time, a lot of the stuff that Peter's feeling is causing his powers to evolve into something bigger. And I thought that was so well done, and seeing how he's trying to suppress it, but over the course of the movie, he learns that he can't suppress it. That he has to accept the change, and he ultimately does. When in that final fight with the Hand, he's going to rescue Jean because he made a mistake, and he takes off that inhibitor and says, I'm both Peter Parker and Spider-Man," and just unleashes a fury of kick-ass on all of these ninjas. and he is webbing them up. He's creating this like vortex of webbing. At one point, some guy jumps at him. He grabs the sword and just breaks the sword, and just it was so good. It was so cool. But I want to talk about this real quick. I do want to talk about this. The scene where Hulk and Spider-Man and Punisher are fighting. It's Spider-Man and Punisher teaming up against the Hulk. So Jean Grey possesses the Hulk. And at first, she possesses Professor Hulk. Smart Hulk, who all of us MCU fans have complained about Professor Hulk. How Professor Hulk is dumb. It's a bad move to make the character to neuter the character, basically. Ever since Avengers Endgame, I have never liked Professor Hulk. Okay, I just never did. And then, of course, seeing him in She-Hulk didn't really do him any favors. Seeing Rage Hulk again. That moment where Spider-Man's like, Bruce, are you okay? Dr. Banner, are you okay? And he's like, go away, save yourself. And just his shirt ripped. Like when he's Professor Hulk, none of his clothes rip. It just adjusts his body. But we finally see like his clothes rip, and he's just, and he turns into, and then he says the line, "No Banner, only Hulk." We got Rage Hulk, baby. We got Rage Hulk again. I have been so disappointed by the way the MCU has decided to treat the Hulk. And now we got Rage Hulk again. And not only does he go Rage Hulk, but he absolutely beats the everlasting crap out of Spider-Man. He's slamming him all over the floor like he did with Loki at the end of Avengers. He like pounds him on the ground, just full blown like King Kong. Like when King Kong catches a prey, he like pounds the freaking thing on the ground. Spider-Man even tries to wrap him around the building at one point, and like Hulk just does basically like a push-up and breaks the concrete of the building off. And oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so satisfying to see. And to get that moment where the last thing Peter can do is say, Bruce, Hulk, it's me, Peter. And he kind of snaps out of it for a second. He kind of realizes that he's turned into the monster again. Finally, after years of him suppressing the other guy finally took over. And part of what makes Hulk so interesting is that the Hulk is kind of like, he's almost like an atomic bomb. You don't want to open that door unless you really need to. It's like a perfect example is in the first Avengers movie. When Loki, his whole reasoning for getting himself caught, he gets himself caught, and Black Widow's interrogating him, and he says, and Black Widow turns around and she says, "You're a monster." And then he looks at her and goes, "Oh no, you brought the monster. So, Banner, that's your play." What? Loki means something. It's like oh my gosh, that's such a smart plan. And then when the Hulk finally does get unleashed and he hears him roar, he just cuts back to Loki, just that grin, that evil grin on his face, and it's like, oh my god, and that's something that the MCU has been missing from Hulk. Even in the Incredible Hulk, at the end of the Incredible Hulk, the whole reason why Bruce runs away at the end of that movie is because he has to prevent himself from being in a situation where he can turn into the Hulk again. And I we've just been missing that from Hulk. And it seems like the Russo brothers decided to neuter him a little bit by turning him into Professor Hulk, and then they did She-Hulk, which I don't even know what that was. Like they took him in this really dumb direction in She-Hulk by making him a Hulk that shows up wearing Hawaiian shirts, showing up to family barbecues. They really ruined Hulk for the longest time, and then we get to Brand New Day, and we finally get Rage Hulk back. And it's so satisfying to see. Even though, again, it's only one scene. It's only one scene in the movie. But man, is it effective. And it works. As a scene, it just works. And like I said, I just absolutely love that. So, yeah. And I love, so I love the Hulk fight. Look, if I'm going to talk about negatives, I don't really have many. I really don't have many. I mean, I have like maybe a couple of nitpicks here and there, but I don't really have like a major problem that just sticks out to me. I think this movie is just the Spider-Man movie I have always wanted to see from the MCU. And I've always wanted to see the MCU take Spider-Man down this direction of taking like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2 approach, where we see Peter Parker trying to balance, the life of a normal person while also being like carrying the responsibility of being Spider-Man and what that means. And like I said, I really thought this movie was so well done. Daniel Destin Cretton did such an amazing job directing this movie. I would love for him to direct another Spider-Man movie, as long as I can get my Shang-Chi 2 before I get Spider-Man 5. Or if you want to do Spider-Man 5 first, then do it. But give me a Shang-Chi 2. Dang it. I love Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and I want a sequel to that movie so bad. I've been wanting to see a sequel. And I know, we're going to get them in Doomsday, and that's going to be nice to see. But, man, I need a Shang-Chi sequel, man. I need to see that sequel and where they're going to take the story for that one. But, yeah, guys, that will do it for my spoilers review for Spider-Man Brand New Day. If you guys have seen Spider-Man Brand New Day, what did you think about it? Did you guys like it? Did you guys not like it? What were your biggest issues? And if you want to talk spoilers, by all means, talk spoilers, because that's what we're here for. But if you haven't seen the movie and you ignored my warnings, you should still go see it, because me talking about the movie does not do it any more justice. Wait. Actually, I'm sorry. Before I end this video, I did forget to talk about one big important thing. The ending and the post-credits scene. I forgot to talk about those two things. Let's start with the ending. So the ending, we see Peter going to the store and getting Aunt May's flowers, which we see him throughout the movie getting flowers for Aunt May. And we see him go to the store, and he sees Ned, and he introduces himself. He's like, "I'm Peter." "Oh, hey, Peter," and he shakes his hand. And then Peter decides to do the handshake. And Ned remembers the handshake, so he does the handshake, the little... And after he does this, cuts to Ned. Peter looks at him, goes back to Ned. Ned looks up and says, Peter. Boom. End credits. So the curse, or not the curse, the spell has been broken. And I think the reason for that is because Ned, I think, has powers. Because, remember, in No Way Home, he's able to open a sling ring portal, and I think the fact that he has those abilities hidden is what ultimately unlocked his memories, and he was able to be like, "Oh, it's you," and man, that was so great. It was such a great way to end the movie. And then the post-credit scene happens. Now, the post-credit scene, we see the spider tracker app that's shown throughout the movie, and it says Spider-Man not found, Spider-Man not found, and it zooms back, zooms into space, and the spider tracker goes all the way out away from Earth in the distant void of space, stops right there, and says, Spider-Man, location found. Boom. What does that mean for the future of Spider-Man going forward? What does that mean for Doomsday? What does that mean for Secret Wars? I'll probably talk about that in another video. But yeah, I actually thought the post-credit scene was pretty effective. I thought it was pretty effective for what they're possibly teeing up. That's all I'll say. But that will do it for this review, guys. Now that will do it for this review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe. I think I should subscribe to the channel because Zeke the Geek said so. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.